us just to take a minute. It would be appropriate for us just to take a minute to remember the people right now that are going through hell and high water with the Russian government. I think if any of you have any roots over in that area, you're all pretty sympathetic for that. So let's take a minute of silence for them. Okay. Communications. Chris, anything from Deep that we should be aware of?
Well, yeah, I have to make an announcement actually that I have put in my papers to retire from Deep. So this actually will be my last meeting tonight.
Oh, Chris, I'm happy for you, but sad for us.
Yes.
You're not old enough to retire.
Well,
Do you have
I'm
an
6.
idea of who they might be replacing you with?
Well, Eric Bedan is the person that I supervises me, Bedan, but he's got a pretty full plate. So at this point, I know he was going to try to talk to the coastal program people and see if there was any possibility that there could be a replacement. But I would assume that it might not be quickly filled, just given the shortcoming of people,
Right.
staff.
Well, we appreciate the time you've given us. It's above and beyond. Appreciate it.
So
No,
who would be representing our watershed though? Would that fall to?
Well, Eric Bedan will be the person that will be the
Okay.
contact. As far as 319 project, Susan Peterson will probably be taking over the Middlebrook School project, but Eric would be the person on the Strong Pond Dam. So we'll see how it goes. They have put in a request to refill my position, but that takes time, and it's likely if it's refilled, it will be an intern level position. So
Won't be the same,
That's
Chris.
crazy.
Thank
Yep.
you.
all right.
Okay,
So-
Department of Aquaculture. Steve or Pete? Any word from them? Go ahead, Jeff.
Just that well, I guess we'll get to this later in the meeting, but that the Bureau of Aquaculture is supportive of our, I'm assuming will be our forthcoming recommendation for monitoring during the Walk Bridge project. So Mr. Carey is on board with that.
Excellent. Steve, or Pete, anything from Department of Aquaculture that we need to know? Peter?
I haven't heard anything lately. Is Steve on? I think he's been talking to him.
I don't see him on.
Let's see, Steve.
We handed out today all the permits and everything at Fisherman's World though. So,
Okay. So we're getting ready for spring.
yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, I
Bill,
think
anything from the Health Department?
No report this month.
Thanks. And Harbor Commission, John, I don't see John here yet. Jeff, anything from the Harbor Commission other than what you just told us?
No, just that the purpose of the special meeting later tonight is to reach agreement on the general comments that will be sent to DEEP as part of the public hearing process for the Walk Bridge permit.
Okay. And Planning and Zoning, Michelle, anything? Michelle, are you on? I guess not. Okay.
No, she's not on.
Excuse me, Joe.
Yeah,
My understanding with the planning and zoning, I think we may have all received an email from Michelle, or actually from Miss Tenney or Jenny.
Laurel
One of
Kennedy.
the, yes, that there are posters that are up in the center hallway of the city hall. So you can still make comments about the industrial industrial waterside land use plans for the month of, throughout the month of March. So if anyone has more things they want to add, go to City Hall for a little break.
Okay.
Bill, Bill Mooney, just as a
Yes.
matter of fact,
Yes,
one of those links wouldn't let me in. And one link did, but it wouldn't give me access to the site.
which for tonight, for this meeting now?
Yes. I haven't done the other ones, obviously, because it's not time, but
Right, okay.
did you just
Just
let
what-
me in now?
No,
Well, then
You-
something just came up and allowed me in. I've been here for 10 minutes and it just let
Oh.
me in now. All right,
divine intervention, I guess.
yeah, I guess.
John, thank you for your perseverance here. Okay, under old business. Jeff or John, you want to take it away about the walk bridge and the DEEP permit for construction?
Yeah, well, I'll leave that up to Jeff because he's got all the latest, greatest renditions of what we've been doing and how we have to
Alright,
handle
well-
it, or
Well, I'll
This
talk
is a-
for a while until you get tired.
we
of
got a
hearing-
we have a joint meeting at 7:45 that would this
Alright.
be better spoken to then so we can
No, I
interact?
think what we would like, if it's possible, is for the Water Quality Committee to express support for the approach that we're taking, I say we, the Harbor Commission is taking on this comments for the bridge project. So
Absolutely.
as well as everybody knows, it's been over 7 years since some of us have been working on this every day. And the public comment, the public hearing is still underway, the process is, but the public comment hearing where the public had a chance to speak was last week, I guess. I forget what day it was. And John Pinto and I participated and prior to that public comment hearing, the Harbor Commission submitted a request to the hearing officer to extend the comment period, but only for the Harbor Management Commission, with the argument that the commission has a special standing in this process because of the harbor management plan and because of DEEP's own procedures that require an applicant to come before the commission, and because of the weight that the general statutes say should be given to a Harbor Commission's recommendations. So the comment period was extended until Monday of next week, only for the Harbor Commission, with the understanding that the commission and the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission would be having a special meeting later tonight to discuss responses to be submitted. And as you know, that the commission several times has, Harbor Commission, with the support of the Shellfish Commission, has submitted its concerns with respect to the draft permit for the walk bridge. And the concerns are that the proposed terms and conditions are not strong enough and need, well, in other words, need to be strengthened in order to adequately protect the public interest in Norwalk Harbor. So this is not to hold up the project or to delay it, because that's not possible now. There's a comment, the comment period it will be finished, and then we don't have any legal representation to challenge anything. So we're providing our comments. And one of the concerns that we have is that the terms and conditions of the draft permit do not require any monitoring of water quality conditions during the construction and during the conduct of the bridge project. And throughout the entire process of going, as I said, 7 years, we had talked about the importance of monitoring and the importance of protecting water quality, especially since downstream of the bridge are clearly not clearly, but arguably the most valuable shellfish resources in the state of Connecticut. And we were especially concerned about turbidity. And as a result of those concerns, DOT conducted baseline monitoring of turbidity. And I know we talked about the adequacy of how they set up the instruments and so forth. But the point is that they recognize that there needs to be an understanding of baseline conditions in order to set, a level or an action level of turbidity that would be unacceptable during the project. So therefore, as you can imagine, we were surprised that the terms and conditions of the permit don't include any requirements for water quality monitoring. And so interestingly, our approach was to make good recommendations to see and argue that there should be requirements for monitoring. And now also interestingly, we discussed this with the Soundkeeper and with Save the Sound. And I think we're sort of grateful to them for pointing out that in the executive summary of the proposed walk bridge project, the DOT itself calls for monitoring during the work. And so, of course, that brings up the question of why wasn't that a condition of the permit? And so forgive me for reading this stuff, but in the DOT's own description of what they're proposing, they say that the Connecticut DOT will implement water quality monitoring for all in-water work during the construction project. Baseline monitoring will be utilized to establish trends and background levels that will assist in the exceedance reporting and investigations during construction monitoring. Turbidity monitoring during construction will be conducted on a continuous basis in the vicinity of each turbidity producing activity. Monitoring will be conducted upstream from the bridge site via 2 fixed monitors to act as a baseline and 2 floating monitoring locations, both upstream and downstream of the marine enclosures / turbidity curtains, to serve as the monitors during the ebb and flow of the river. If there is a spike in turbidity levels, and forgive me, this is what we're talking about now, above the action levels, an environmental inspector will be available on the project to investigate the cause of the exceedance, to determine if the condition is due to natural conditions of the river, background traffic in the area, or from the construction activities. As necessary, the best management practices implemented by the contractor will be adjusted. CONDOT will also be monitoring specific conductivity, salinity, dissolved oxygen, pH, temperature, and water level to determine if marine life and other natural conditions may be contributing to turbidity levels. And then there's another statement of what they're proposing to do. So our recommendation now, and we don't have to work out the details of the specific language tonight, is that the conditions for water quality monitoring that DOT itself proposed, and we assumed will be included in the project, should be part of the conditions in the permit. And that we will also recommend what is called an action level, which is the amount of turbidity above which they have to take action, and that we will recommend that based on past practices that DEP has assigned to other dredging projects, and that we will also recommend that prior to commencement of the work, the licensee shall submit for approval to the DEP commissioner a detailed water quality monitoring plan. And then we can work out all of the references to the state water quality standards and the other stuff in our submittal, and also reference the harbor management plan policy, which specifically says that work to repair, replace, what's the other word? Repair, replace, whatever it is, bridges crossing Norwalk Harbor will be carefully monitored to ensure no adverse impacts on environmental quality, including water quality. And then the argument would be that if these requirements for monitoring are not included in the permit conditions, then the permit would be the proposed project would be inconsistent with the policy, the water quality protection policies of the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan. That's my long-winded and that's only one of 8 different issues that the commission will be considering tonight.
Dick Harris?
Yep.
Did you guys or Shellfish for Men at Large, did you guys write any letters to or get involved in inputting information?
Into the DOT?
Yes,
And I didn't. No.
into deep. And this hearing, in the public hearing that's taking place?
We did on the pesticides.
Okay, but this issue, Shellfish is going crazy, looking to protect the industry. Harbor's going crazy, looking to protect the industry. Water quality is going crazy, looking to protect the industry. My question is, why hasn't the industry jumped up and down? You carry a lot of weight throughout the state, whether it's upstate, middle of state, Norwalk, local politics, local government, because we're not getting any support, let's say, from our legal department entering in as an intervener. And I would think that the shellfish industry at large should be jumping up and down about this.
Well, I think they will once you focus the issues in exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
We have shellfish studies that go back 3 or 4 years that show the shellfish in that harbor full of metals. We have core studies that show the core is full of metals. So it's not a matter of not having any basis to make a complaint on.
Okay, but
It's not a complaint, Dick. It's not a complaint. It's a comment during the public comment period for this project, and now that comment period is ended. It's only open for the Harbor Management Commission until Monday.
Well, I can't be responsible for that.
No, we can't be responsible either. We're just asking that we're the only ones that seem to be. Well, anyway, we'll do our job and submit the comments, and we'd like the support of, the commission would like the support of the Water Quality Committee for the approach that we've just laid out. But there is no time anymore for anybody else to submit comments. The commission could refer to, and which we will do, that we have the support from Save the Sound, from the Long Island Soundkeeper, and from the Bureau of Aquaculture for the imposition of monitoring requirements in the terms and conditions. But nobody else can comment now. The comment period is over.
Then the whole thing's academic at this point.
No, well, not except for the Harbor Commission.
Yeah. That's
So
what
Jeff,
saying.
you're saying the Harbor Commission can go forth and say, we have the support of, the shellfish, we have Norm Bloom or whatever. That's what you want to be able to do? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it's too late for that now because we don't have that. What we'd like is, I think well, I should say, I keep saying we because I'm working on this with them. We'd like the support of the Water Quality Committee, and the Shellfish Commission is we're making these also in the support of the Shellfish Commission, which the Harbor Commission does have.
So what you're saying is if the oyster industry supports you, that's as far as we can go.
Well, at this point, but Jeff's point is that the public comment period was finished on February 28th.
Right.
I would have thought that you guys would have, as a group, as an industry, really weighed in and dug into this and even tried your best to apply some political pressure as well, because we're not getting heard as much as we'd like to be heard or listened to, or agreements that were made adhered to. And I think some of it we're ironing out, and we're doing a great job. But it'd be nice that the people that it's could potentially most affect were part of weighing in.
That's right. But you just tell me now it's academic.
Well, you-
Say, what can we do now? What at this point, how can we support?
That's what I want to hear. What can we do now?
I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, if he got some letters from the industry at large, we could put that into our submission for Monday, and put it as an additional proof that the industry is very supportive of what we're doing. And they as an industry, we've thrown numbers out at them, and I'm sure that they have numbers of what the industry does and how important it is, but they can reinforce it by their attestation about what the potential could be if something
Right.
gets let loose and creates a problem.
I have a suggestion, Mr. Chair, through the chair.
ahead.
Okay, so is there a chance, the Shellfish Commission, which is part of the umbrella here, you're absolutely right, John. If there's a chance that Bloom Brothers could quickly assemble at least a letter, maybe some backup of some medals, other things by Monday at the latest. But is there also like a Shellfish association? I must confess, I would imagine there is, even though blooms are predominant throughout the state of Connecticut. But if there is such an association, I think the Shellfish Commission would be best to assemble letters and then bring them to Jeff Stedman and John Romano, and through, I guess, Pete Johnson and Steve. There's still time to assemble some letters, and I think they would go a long way. My question is, what other parameters besides turbidity should be part of this ask as far as conditions, if any?
Jeff?
Well, I'm just going to read again. We're not. Sounds like we're criticizing, but we're not. We're just trying to make this better. And the process is underway. We're not extending it. We're working within the process, and it will be up to the hearing officer to decide if the comments that we submit are to be accepted or incorporated into the permit. So we're just trying to do a good job. And one of the other statements that the DOT itself made is that water quality monitoring for turbidity, specific conductivity, salinity, dissolved oxygen, pH, temperature, and water level at one location will be conducted whenever in-water work is being performed. Now that's DOT's own statement. And so we're suggesting that also be part of the specified conditions in the permit. And when we talked about this with the representatives of DEEP, when was that, John? Yesterday or the day before? I can't remember the times, but they were not opposed to that. I mean, there was discussion about how much detail should go into the
Yeah, but they gave us a little pushback too, because they felt that it was understood. But we can't go by understood. It's got to be specific, because we need a parameter to hold them accountable to.
It's got to be in writing. It can't be.
So we
Well,
said,
I'm asking you one more time. You want me to go to Norman and get a letter or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Addressed to who?
addressed to the Harbor Commission.
Harbor management.
Okay.
The other thing is, aquaculture said 90% of all oysters come into Norwalk for the state of Connecticut. 90% of the oysters come in Norwalk, for Connecticut, come into Norwalk.
Right.
So,
Of the state's
you know,
harvest. Right.
Yeah. Were you at that meeting when we were out on the, yeah. Because they asked how much, and it's 90%. I mean, we're trying to protect that type of thing. So, I don't know.
What about that monitoring unit that's installed near the Maritime Center? How does that come into play?
That monitoring is USGS.
But doesn't that cover a lot of the parameters you're looking for?
It does right now, yes.
And
So
I might
how
also
come
say
we
that
can't marry that with the system too?
Jeff?
there is a representative of Save the Sound that is listening to the meeting, Sam Marquand. Mr. Linderoth, who was quite helpful in pointing out that the DOT's own language was not able to make it, but But if Sam wants, is there a way to allow him to make a comment at this time, or should we wait till the public comment period? But
We don't have a public comment period on the
all
agenda.
right.
So if he wants to weigh in now, have him weigh in.
All right, but you gotta let him in.
Yep.
He's an attendee.
Bill is
So-
on it.
So while you're doing that, could someone answer my question about whether there's a shellfish association in the state of Connecticut? And
There's association for, believe it or not, the whole country.
Right.
They have a meeting every 2 years. What's it called? Dick, you know
I don't even remember the name. It's very
I
distant.
know. But every 2 years they meet and it's shellfish from Louisiana to New Hampshire, Maine, and California.
so
So
could
they meet
they,
every 2 years at a different place.
could they,
Huh?
could they prepare a letter stating who they represent with filler from the Shellfish Commission and others so that
That would
they-
take weeks to get it now.
Well, that depends on what Norm can do too. I can ask.
Yeah,
him.
Okay,
yeah. Because we need it for Monday.
Yeah, right.
They need to submit that Monday.
well, it's pretty basic stuff.
Yeah, but this,
IT, could you let Sam in to speak, please?
Hi, everybody. I'm here actually. Thanks for letting me in. Yeah, I just wanted to chime in really quick to say, obviously, Peter's been talking to Jeff pretty extensively, and yeah, we're 100% behind, obviously, requiring the elements that are in the proposal that they should be represented in the approval for the permit. Obviously, as you all know, none of them are. And just to address the USGS data, they have 3 monitoring points, I believe, and none of them are close enough to reflect what we're really looking for. Ideally, the monitoring would happen at a couple of points just north of the construction area and just south, so you can get real-time reads. And that's why, again, I suggest telemetry rather than something you have to go in and download. Having real-time reads that you can, see online or whatever would absolutely be best. So that's all I wanted to chime in and say. Thank you.
And back to the previous question, the USGS monitoring stuff is real time. And they could, on one side, on the north side of the bridge, do that. And since they're supposedly doing their work primarily with an incoming tide, that could pick it up. But that monitoring equipment right now is only supposed to be there for another 2 years. And then they'll yank it. So if they don't get going, there won't be anything there. There should be another station like that south of the bridge. And I would highly recommend, Jeff and I disagree on this. I would recommend that they be called in because it's an outside agency. And their
Good point.
monitoring equipment is state-of-the-art stuff. And any one of you can sit down at your computer and see what's going on at that moment at that station.
they
Otherwise,
took the one out of Marine Police. They took that one out.
yeah,
Joe, there's no reason why they couldn't put a new buoy in somewhere near the
Absolutely.
project site and put a sonde on it to do 24-hour monitoring,
absolutely.
especially if DOT is paying for it, right, out of the project funds.
We would hope. Jeff,
I'll just make my comment that for what it's worth and what my comments are worth, I would be opposed to that. I think if they want to, if the USGS wants to monitor it and we can use that data as a check on what DOT is doing, that would be fine. But I don't think we want to propose something that should be the responsibility of the applicant. If the applicant wants to retain USGS to do it, fine, but we shouldn't be doing it for them. And I just think that would be wrong and set a bad precedent. Put it in the condition, they're responsible, that they have to come up with a plan to be accepted by the DEP commissioner, and they have to hire the proper people to do it. I don't think that's USGS's job, but that's just my opinion, and we can discuss it.
None of that we know until we explore it.
Correct.
I think it's a bad precedent to do, to do the applicant's job or take away the requirement that the applicant is to do something.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was suggesting that they do it without compensation, Jeff. I would expect that the DOT would compensate whoever's doing it. They probably would hire their own consultant.
Yeah,
But-
but it would be the DOT's responsibility. If they want to hire
Absolutely.
USPS, that's fine.
Right,
But we're not doing it for them.
right. And we can't really stipulate who they're gonna hire.
No.
I agree with Jeff also, just for the record, because they should really go out and hire a consulting firm and do the work and they'll be held responsible to the results. I don't think the USGS will be the ones to come and do this type of work.
Okay, any other comments or criticisms about this? Because we've got to end the meeting somewhat early today, unfortunately. Steve, welcome aboard.
Thank you,
I-
Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I'm late.
I just,
Louise?
Is there anything else the rest of us can do, Jeff, aside from Dick, to support at this late hour?
No, it's what, I guess whatever the sense of the committee might be, to be supportive. When we've submitted the request for the public the petition for the public hearing, we submitted it on behalf of the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission. And when we submitted information in the course of the hearing process so far, it was on behalf of the two commissions and the Water Quality Committee. So when we submit these recommendations, if we would be able to say that our approach to recommending the monitoring and our recommendation is with the support and encouragement of the Water Quality Committee, I think that would be truth, or hopefully that would be something.
Well, why don't someone propose a resolution that we can
Yep.
vote on?
I'll propose that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that this committee supports, Jeff's, the not interveners, but what are you called? The
Petitioners.
petitioners, requests. Yeah.
Second,
Aye.
I'll
Tom?
second it, but I think we need to be more specific, Louise.
Yeah. Can you fill in? I'm not the best one to do that.
All right, Jeff should. I mean, it's the mode of the monitoring in real time, north of the bridge and south of the bridge.
As proposed by the DOT itself in the permit application.
Right. So if that's just the language,
And
that would be the motion.
supports the Harbor Management Commission and Shellfish Commission's recommendation for inclusion of water quality monitoring during the project, as discussed at this meeting tonight, including the proposed DOT's own proposal for monitoring. I think that's sort of rough around the edges, but basically supporting that there be included in the terms and conditions a requirement for water quality monitoring during the construction process of the walk bridge, as discussed, as recommended by the Harbor Management Commission and Shellfish Commission.
And this goes into the permit, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah.
so
Diane?
yeah, so I think having been through some of these types of hearings with adjudications of deep, it's best if we include in this motion a friendly amendment to literally spell out the parameters beyond just turbidity. Instead of just referring to what they say, I think it would behoove us to literally list all those other parameters you mentioned and include what Mr. Marquand suggested and others did, the telemetric, the need for that. If we don't have it, the adjudicator, the judge needs our help in forcing or having the DOT include these things. So they need our help in being specific.
Well,
That
we-
is-
we would include that, Diane, that the actual language that's proposed by DOT when they list the
Okay,
parameters or the substances, whatever you call it, that they're going to monitor.
well, it has to be spelled out, Jeff. What you presented to us today, this evening, was, for instance, as parameters, you only mentioned turbidity.
No, he mentioned,
Until
others.
I asked, all I'm saying is, for this committee, this committee, if we could replicate what I know that the Harbor Commission is intending to ask for, but spell out just a shopping list of parameters. I think the Water Quality Committee would be more helpful to the judge of adjudications.
Water
Yep.
quality monitoring for turbidity, specific conductivity, salinity, dissolved oxygen, pH, temperature, and water level will be conducted whenever in-water work is being performed. And
Right,
was there another thing that was to be added to that?
the telemetric, real-time, Mr. Marquand's comment and others, I think, Joe. Thank you.
Excuse me, hey Jeff, do they still have incoming tide in their permit?
The work on the incoming tide?
Yes,
I'll have to look at that, Dick, or Pete.
okay.
I don't recall. I'll have to go back to the authorized work in the permit. Just give me a minute.
Because they're
Okay.
supposed to, but, you
Is
know,
there a second on Louise's motion?
I make a second.
Okay. There's 2 seconds, Diane and Pete. All those in favor of supporting this work for the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission, just raise your hand or say aye,
Aye,
okay? John, are you in favor of this? Okay, it's unanimous. So thanks, Jeff.
And I just looked at the terms and conditions, Pete, and there's no condition or term that has to do with work on incoming or outgoing tide.
That was a condition that they agreed to very early on, and that was at the Health Department office downstairs when we spoke about, because Shellfish request was that it had to be 40 degrees or lower for them to work. And they said, no, 50 degrees was acceptable. And then they agreed to it, but they also agreed that they would only work on incoming tides, not outgoing.
I'm dredging,
Yeah. And
any
that was,
dredging.
that was part of the agreement for anything, all the work that they were gonna do that had to do with the bottom of the channel.
Yeah.
And work had to be done on an incoming tide.
Now, here's the thing, they did it when they put that temporary cable in. They did it on incoming tides only.
And they stuck to that too.
Yeah, so they know it's there, so they should still be doing it. And it should be in the permit.
Should be in the writing, yep.
We can add that when we talk about it at the final discussion of
Yep.
what's to be submitted.
There's 2 more opportunities tonight to fill in any other blanks that we think about.
Right.
Okay, moving on
Before
to
we
new
move on,
business.
Jeff, I would like to have you come over tomorrow morning and the 2 of us craft this letter together. I don't want to go spin my wheels and come out with something that's not acceptable. So I'd like you to look over my shoulder, help me put it together, and we'll get Norm to sign it.
How about if I work on that tonight and talk with you in the morning? Because we'll help. We'll help, Dick. All right.
Fine. I just don't want to waste time.
Okay, moving on to new business. I sent all of you a copy of a letter of support today. Louise brought this to our attention, the State Bill 120, which is an act concerning the use of chloropyrifos and whatever they are, for non-agricultural use. And I basically sent this out so that I knew we could either agree to it, or I'll send it out personally and not as a
I'd like to make a motion that the
part of the
letter
committee.
that you crafted in support of that bill,
Yes,
that the Water Quality Committee totally endorse it.
right.
Can
That's
I
what
add
want.
one, can I make one comment? I was thinking it might be a good idea if we actually addressed it to Senator Duff and asked him to co-sponsor and to urge the Environment Committee to vote this out of committee, because right now it's in the Environment Committee. The next stage is for them to vote yes, and then it goes to the full legislature. And, I think just bringing to Senator Duff's attention that Norwalk is concerned about this issue would be a powerful way to do this.
And
So,
copy Joe Gresco.
yeah, and copy Joe Gresco. That would be great. And Senator Cohen.
Diane?
Yes, I just right before the meeting, I sent just a suggestion to add at the top of the letter about literally listing the name of the bill. And
I have that in the first sentence.
oh, yeah, listing the bill, not just the number.
I have that in the first sentence.
It wasn't the full, but anyway, also addressing it to the two co-chairs of the Environment Committee. As far as the connection with Senator Duff, I'm thinking that we should first approve the letter, and then as a second step, separately, but part of tonight, look at Senator Duff, because we're not assured that where he stands on this. I'm hoping that he would agree, but I think the letter, having a letter in front of them, is a great idea.
The important thing at this point is there were two people that made comment. Diane, you were one, and you asked for the title of the bill at the beginning of the letter, and it is there. And then Tom wants to add a sentence as to how these get into the water. And Tom, I have that in there and say, when it rains, these compounds can wash into the water and continue their impact.
Right.
So all I want is, if this committee agrees, I will send this out to individual representatives and senators, etc. And I'll get that done tomorrow. Now,
Okay.
Question.
if you don't agree, I will send it out under my own name and not mention the Mayor's Water Quality Committee.
There's a motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
There's a motion on the chair to support the letter that you have written.
Okay,
Correct.
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposition? Okay, it will go out tomorrow.
So, but just to clarify, you're going to send it to the chairs of the Environment Committee?
Yes.
I think maybe we can consider also our own representatives. It would be good to send to.
Well, I put everybody down there that should be aware of this.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, very quickly, minutes of the last meeting. I have a few corrections. And that'll give some of you time to collect your thoughts on this. The one correction has to do with, on the last page under new business, it says the finger crabs and herons return to the area. I don't know what a finger crab is, but I do know what fiddler crabs are. So if they could make a change on that. The other correction, come on, came from the Wilson Cove Homeowners Association. It has the Wilson Cove Point Homeowners Association. It should be not Wilson Cove Homeowners Association. It should be Wilson Point Homeowners Association. And that's on the very last page. Any other corrections? No other corrections? All those in favor of adopting the minutes and accepting them? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? None? Then I think we made it as far, yeah, we went over the time, but that's okay. Move to adjourn, anybody move to adjourn? No motion to
Move
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Thanks, Luis.
Second.
Second, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're out of here. I'll
Thank
see
you,
some of,
everyone.
I'll see some of you at the next two meetings.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Chris, Godspeed, Chris.
The
Yeah,
next
good luck.
call is at 7, correct?
7:15.
7:15?
The Shellfish starts at its normal time, 7:15. That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ciao for now. See you guys in a bit.
Good luck, Chris.
Yeah, good luck.